Hello and welcome. This is Intimacy After, a podcast for mature women facing intimacy issues from various causes. Please know you are not alone. It is time to stop suffering in silence. On this podcast, we give hope that through practice of simple steps and proven tips, you can improve intimacy and resurrect your love life. Break free, learn to laugh again, to play again, to be happy, to love, and know that you are loved. I am your host, Queen. Come on inside. Hey, sister friend, welcome inside to another episode of Intimacy After Body Changes. We're going to continue the conversation, part two, if you will, and look at how body changes and a variety of health issues can affect our sexual desires and performance. Ladies, it's all about whatever we do, having a better sex life and improved relationship. Now, these can be broadly categorized into physical, psychological, and hormonal factors, all of which can contribute to body changes. Understanding these issues, though, can help us in managing them effectively and maintaining a healthy sexual life. Let's consider some key health issues that might affect sexual desire and performance. Now, as I go through these, this is not a class or anything, but you want to either mentally take note, get a pen and paper, or for the tech savvy, take a note here and there on your phone or notebook pad if you're not out running or on the treadmill or doing all those activity. Let's pause for a second here though. Before we go any further, let's address the use and misuse of certain terms. The English language has a way of making things a bit cloudy. So let's have a moment of clarification. When I'm talking about intimacy, sex, and sexuality, we'll leave orgasm out for now, ladies. These terms are interrelated concepts, right? However, each has its distinct definitions and roles in your relationships and your identity. What if you're talking and thinking about one thing, but your partner is thinking about something else? We have misunderstanding at the core, right? So when you talk about intimacy, what exactly do you mean? Holding hands? Being in the same room watching TV, cooking together, vastly different, yes? Holding hands, for me, for example, is just, well, nice. Cooking together is nice. And some of you, like me, may see cooking as a necessity, a chore. We gotta eat. So we get together in the kitchen. He does the meats. I'll do the salad and starch. Holding hand and cooking together for some of you would be oh so awesome. That would be like cuddling for me. So you have to make sure you're both speaking the same language. What does intimacy mean for you? It's going to be different for everybody. So if you don't talk about it or ask for it, how can he know? He cannot read your mind. You don't even know how to read your own mind sometimes. But whatever intimacy may look like for you, just start with the basic. Next time, simply hold his hands. You're in the car? Just reach over, put your hand on his thighs. Don't wait for him to do so. I promise you, if you do it often enough, he will catch on. Okay, so you're cooking and you want him to be in the kitchen? Have a bunch of things for him to do, or just happen to have for him to do, right? Honey, can you open this spaghetti sauce for me? My hands are greasy. Oh, can you sharpen these two knives when you're done? I almost cut myself. They're so dull. See what I'm saying? You sometimes got to put the work in. I know. So then, sister friend, intimacy just refers to a deep sense of closeness and sharing. It can be emotional, intellectual. I mean, if I could get my hubby to talk with me about my AI craze, we'd be up until wee hours in the morning, like we used to when we go clubbing. Physical, holding hands, rubbing off the shoulder, touching, brushing against him. Spiritual too, you know. Don't be fooled. I should have talked about this first. You know, sometimes you try to do things in the dark like God don't already know. He created you. When you get on one accord, the Holy Spirit can cause something to happen. Sister friend, let me tell you, you get to be so stress-free. You get to praising Jesus and dancing like David. Huh, your clothes just may fall off. Then hey. So a feeling of being deeply connected to another person through acts of care, understanding, and sharing of personal thoughts and experiences is what intimacy is truly all about. In a relationship, intimacy can build up into something else, but it is not necessarily sexual. You have to build trust, affection, and mutual respect for intimacy to just flow. So, what is intimacy to you? Figure it out. How can you ask your hubby or significant other or fiance for something that you don't know or even recognize? Before the next podcast, you should know exactly what it means and what it takes to get you in the mood. Let's make it easy for him. Yes? Okay. So, I thought I knew what sex means. Do you? Typically, we would say sex means intercourse, period. But let's just say the term sex these days falls under a double wide umbrella. I see you blushing over there, sister friend. No, ma'am, I will not dig too deep there, but needless to say, if I were a betting woman, I'm not. Hold up, side note. My last visit to Vegas, I only visited family, friends, and saw shows. I spent $0 gambling. 15 years previous, I spent $30 at the slot machine. With grit, too. I worked too hard for my money. Megan, if you're listening, I'm sure you will remember that fun trip from way back in residency days. Anyway, back to you. As I was saying, if I were a betting woman, and I'm not, I would win, because the answer to this question in over 95% of the case would be no. Question: did you have the sex talk with your husband? Not just about how you lost your virginity and your first time and how many boyfriends you've had. Well, that too. But no, I'm talking about the sex talk with questions. What questions? How did you first learn about sex? Was it a magazine? A blue movie? Well, that's what we call it in Jamaica. Now that I think about it, not sure why the color blue. If you're Jamaican and know, leave me a voice message on my website. Let me know why we call X-rated movie blue movie. One would think it would be red, right? Why call it blue? It shouldn't be sad. Anyway, ask, what do you like, honey? Like, honestly, the position, the types, etc. Because if he learned stuff from blue or X-rated movies, some of those things you may not be able to accomplish. I mean, I'm happy with just being able to touch my toes. Cannot imagine all that pretzel acrobatic stuff. No, sir. Your husband does not want acrobatics. He wants you. He may not be able to hang anyway. It's all in his head and how this all started. You need to get in his head, figure things out, and make it work for you. So there are a lot of stuff under the umbrella. And no, you don't need to do all of that or any of that. But sometimes, sister friend, you have to be that girlfriend. Dress in something else that is not your norm. Something coy, sexy. Change up with a wig or something, you know? Use your imagination, and everybody's gonna be different. Hey, it may be a tool belt for your husband. You are under the umbrella with your husband, all eyes on you. Here comes my disclaimer. Sex in different contexts, has varying implications and consequences. This is influenced by factors like consent, relationship status, personal values, biblical, and societal norms. So I am not telling you to try everything under the societal umbrella. Absolutely not. What I am telling you is to start with intimacy, work up to having a conversation about likes and dislikes, and then go frolicking. Let's talk about sexuality. Sexuality is a broad term that encompasses sexual orientation, sexual preferences, sexual behavior patterns, and the role of sexual activity in your life. It is sort of like a fundamental aspect of being human, and it does impact your identity, personality, and behavior, right? Differences between these terms can help clarify interpersonal dynamics and personal feelings. What we have seen is that while sexuality and sex are often linked directly to each other, intimacy plays a broader role that encompasses many types of close relationships, not strictly those involving sexual activities. So, my sister friend, you can experience and value emotional intimacy without sexual contact. But you can engage in sexual activity and it does not guarantee emotional intimacy or a deeper relationship. Where are you on the spectrum? We all have work to do. This is my take. We are only on God's beautiful green earth for a short time. I want to enjoy His gift, all of them. And I know ISO, intimacy, sex, orgasm is a part of the plan for me. It's a part of the plan for you too. I'm going to enjoy it to the fullest. What about you? Don't cheat yourself. Small increments works, whether it be in the kitchen or if you're holding hands or stopping being upset and getting off the seam of the mattress and just cuddle with your cutie. Now, we all have an understanding of what intimacy, sex, and sexuality means on a personal level. Let's look at one of the factors that may get in the way of us enjoying God's good stuff. Weight changes. Society as a whole seems to focus more on weight gain more than anything. But there are issues associated with weight loss as well. As I previously touched upon in the last episode, before we get into talking about weight changes, let's acknowledge some things to set the record straight. Okay? First thing, there are some families that are genetically heavyset. Trying to lose weight in this setting is challenging, not only because learning what to do to lose weight that sticks like glue feels like an uphill battle, but once successful, you may be ostracized because you no longer appear like the expected norm of the family. Second, you may find yourself on the opposite side of that spectrum, and all your family, they're rail thin. I mean, you could eat a cow, and it appears that the scale may not even budge. You simply desire to fill out your clothes a bit more, right? A little bit more breast, a little bit more booty. Some of you may invest financially in doing so, and hey, more power to you. But when you're with your family, it's quite obvious there's been some man-made changes, and you too could be ostracized for one reason or another. Thirdly, what I've come to observe and realize through God's wisdom over the past decades is that it's about your health. And yes, it's about you. Whether you are single, never married, widowed, divorced, dating, or married, you should focus on being the best version of yourself. For you, not for society, not even for hubby, for you. A thin appearance does not mean good health. My dearest, no. I remember someone boasting about eating whatever they want and staying thin, but then had a stroke. Like, what? My grandfather was always thin, maybe 150 pounds wet. Well, the clogged vessels didn't get the memo that heart attack was not allowed. On the other hand, I have seen ladies who are heavy set but are out training for a marathon built like a Clydesdale. Their labs are fine. No cholesterol issues, no glucose or diabetes issues, blood pressure just fine, thyroid okay. If you are listening and thinking, Queen, I don't know any of those things, well, sister friend, you surely should know about these labs. There's a weight that's right for you. When you're swiping left or swiping down, or whichever way the trend is swiping these days, take some time to investigate about yourself. What is a reasonable weight for you based on your height and your blood work and genetic predisposition? For heaven's sake, do not use the military scale. Yes, I am a little bit biased, and I'll tell you why in a bit. When it comes to labs, your blood can tell you a lot about what's going on under the hood, not just the cholesterol and such, but keep your military left eye on the TSH. The thyroid stuff could be a lot of problems for you. Go have a chat with your doc. It's okay to tell her that you're getting a tune-up for a better sex life, or him. Let's get to the meat and potatoes now, though. Both weight loss and weight gain carry significant emotional and psychological impacts, and these changes can influence what occurs in your relationship. The emotional aspects of self-esteem and negative body image associated with weight gain can lead to feelings of shame and self-disgust, especially if you're trying to lose weight for your hubby or because you used to be thinner. You are not alone, though. The National Institute of Health recent statistic shows that over 1 in 4 women are overweight. The Center for Disease Control stats are even more alarming. Approximately 45% of women between the age of 40 and 60 are obese. That means half of you listening falls in the obese bracket. Sister friend, I do not want to be in that statistic. My husband tells me that I have fat phobia. I think it's true. And if it is, I developed it while in the Army. It's all their fault. We were all subjected to the Army physical fitness test. Do as many push-ups as you can in 2 minutes, as many sit-ups as you can in 2 minutes. And when your thighs are burning and your abdomen is cramping and your arms feel like they're going to fall off, oh, you have to do a 2-mile run too. Every single time we had to be weighed before the test. When I first joined the military in the 90s, I breezed through everything. I was on the track team in college too, so definitely no problem. But as the years went by, it became more challenging. The scales were adjusted for your age and height, and if you weren't the wiry fit frame, you ended up in the fat boy line. Then they would subject you to use the manual body fat evaluation, which means someone would measure your neck, bust, and hips, and repeat that times 3, and then calculate it to see what your BMI is. If you fail, you would be on remediation PT and in the fat boy program. If the BMI was less than a certain number, then it was associated with being a bit more on the muscular side. So twice per year, I had this trepidation. I felt like a cattle. Just brand me already and get it over with. To quickly lose weight, though, we would put on that plastic bag. We would try to sweat it off, to pee it off, to poo it off. Every ounce counted. Ah, boy. I doubt if they use that kind of language anymore, the fat boy thing. The Army is kinder and gentler now. I've been told. So you can imagine my chagrin when I pulled out a third skirt the other day to try on as I got dressed and the waist would not meet. Like, what the ham sandwich is going on here? Have you had the experience? This is pure BS. Bologna sandwich, that is, right? So I decided to do something about it. The elastic waist skirt worked okay, but that's not where I want to stop. Not to mention, I had my labs and the doctor was like, you are pre-diabetic according to your hemoglobin A1C. I was like, girl, shut your face. So, okay, she's my friend. So don't you talk to your doc like that. I don't endorse it. So what's the blame? I could blame COVID-19. I could blame my age, though I'm stuck at 39. Side note, I was a child genius. My math may be off, but that's my story. I'm sticking to it. It's not a lie if I believe it and look it, right? Leave me be. It's my story. I'm 39. Now, I could roll over and say, oh, woe is me. Diabetes running my family. But no, ma'am, I'm a fighter and I will fight even that. Yes, I plan to live for a long time and I want to be as healthy as possible. That includes having great sex too. It all comes back to having great sex. So I've been given 6 months to get my act together, and that I will. All that snacking in the evening is over. I'm in the process of convincing myself that all chocolate is nasty. I'll let you know how that one goes. Dark chocolate has a hold on me and been calling my name. Seriously though, prior to COVID, I didn't. My program worked out awesome and many had great outcome. But trying to handle kids, homeschooling, and eating all the good stuff during COVID, I decreased exercising and voila. How are you handling your weight gain? And if you're weight loss, how are you handling your weight loss? Now you put your skirt on and it's just falling off of you. What is causing yours? What I have found out is that weight loss is not a choice. It's not A, B, or C if you're trying to lose weight. Not at all. It's a decision to cut out the foolishness. Stop lying to yourself too. I'm going back straight soldier, re-engaging my discipline. Now, what are you going to do? With weight loss, if done intentionally, it's great, right? It can boost your self-esteem initially, particularly if it aligns with your societal beauty standard or personal goals. However, if the weight loss is rapid or driven by unhealthy methods, it may not result in a positive emotional outcome, and you can gain it all back if not done right. I know some of you nod in your head right now because you've been there. Also, in these cases, the process often requires sustained motivation and a sense of control, which can be empowering, but also psychologically exhausting. That is why I always recommend a lifestyle change. You need lifestyle changes, not just dieting. And there is a way to do this without the yo-yo effect. The anxiety and fear of regaining that weight is very real and can be quite crippling. Obsessive patterns of behaviors and extreme dieting or excessive exercise can drive your hubby crazy. I heard the stories. It's so hard to get them on board though. So slow and steady is the way to go. For some of you, what started out as a normal attempt at losing weight can develop into an eating disorder. Anorexia and bulimia are recognized as severe psychological conditions triggered by this desire to lose weight and distorted body image. If you are thin and weak most of the time, then sexual encounters will be far from your thoughts. Your husband is waiting to speak to you. Most times they are concerned that having sex with you may bring physical, bodily harm. Changes in weight can alter your self identity and how you relate to yourself and others. For some of you, though, gaining or losing weight might be tied strongly to your sense of self worth or identity. Are you using food as a way to cope with emotions, either consciously or subconsciously? Sometimes significant weight changes reflect underlying emotional or psychological issues. So, my dear sister friends, I always encourage you to identify, why am I losing weight? Or why am I gaining weight so much? Do you know you have to develop a relationship with food? Yes, some of you are too close with them. Some of you are not close enough. You have to promote a healthy psychological relationship with food and your body image. This is crucial. So, what would that look like? That might involve getting outside help, right? So, psychotherapy can work to address underlying emotional issues, and you can work out in improving or coming up with some coping strategies. You could do support groups or group therapy. And this will offer a shared space to discuss experiences related to weight changes. Then there's also the integrative approach that include nutrition counseling, medical support, and mental health care. Understanding the deep interplay between emotions, psychological well-being, and weight is key to addressing the root causes of unhealthy weight changes and fostering a healthier relationship between mind and body, soul, intimacy, and better sex. Yes, everything leads back to a great relationship. Do you know what I have found out though? Most of the time, we obsess over our weight more than our hubbies do. If you've been married since high school, had a couple few kids, and gained a couple few extra pounds, chances are he is not bothered by that. He may have gained a couple few extra pounds himself. In the Caribbean, they have a saying, an older woman should have some fat pan her bone or some meat pan her bones. Well, sweetheart, show me where to send the fat and the meat. I'll be happy with my pre-COVID size and fitting into those cute skirts. 6 months. Oh, by the way, what I said earlier is that in the Caribbean, the guys there think as a woman age that they should have some meat on their bones, meaning it's okay for you to have some weight on you. Okay. Societal pressure, though, to maintain a certain body type can influence your mental drive to lose weight and the psychological responses to weight loss. This can range from positive reinforcement and increased social acceptance, which what a lot of you are working towards, but it can also go to extreme pressure and unrealistic body image expectations. There is an intersection of emotional well-being, weight changes, and great sex slash relationship slash intimacy. There's often a feedback loop where weight changes affect mood and psychological state, and these in turn affect eating behaviors and activity levels, which leads to further weight changes. So it's important then to have a support system, right? The role of a supportive social network can be crucial in moderating the psychological effect of weight changes. Positive reinforcement and encouragement can help sustain healthy habits and mental health. We want sustainability. You have to recognize when you cannot do this by yourself. Addressing both the psychological and physical aspect of weight change is essential. Mental health professionals, nutritionists, and fitness experts can provide an integrated approach to manage weight in a healthy way. Also, I've done this in the past with others where 2 times per year, I offer a 6-week of intermittent fasting coaching program. Typically, I do it in April and October. What I really emphasize is small, steady, sustainable steps. It's all about a lifestyle change. So, a great sex life takes communication and work. Understanding these complexities is crucial in dealing with weight change from a holistic health perspective. Whether weight loss or weight gain, self acceptance and self love is key. Love God. He will teach you how to love yourself in a healthy way. Then you can love your husband in the ways that fulfills both your catchment and his catchment under that double wide umbrella. Well, sister friend, I know you have choices, so I thank you for tuning into Intimacy After podcast. You may subscribe for bi-monthly alerts or stay in the know by visiting my website at queenquanta.com. That's Queen, Quanta.com. Until next time, remember, a life without intimacy is like your favorite meal without salt. Ladies, let's spice it up. Life is beautiful and God is awesome. This is Queen, signing out.